Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is a quick overview of the bosses in the Eye of Azshara as they appear on the Legion beta. The Eye of Azshara is a 5-boss dungeon coming in Legion where we'll fight through the beaches of Ashura to face Ashura's most devoted followers. Warlord Parjesh oversees the Naga military around here, and he isn't afraid to ask for help. Call Reinforcements summons a Naga Ad who should be picked up by the tank but doesn't do anything super scary. Crashing Wave charges the boss forwards on a little tidal wave, doing damage to anybody he hits. Melee should watch out for that and scooch out of the way. Impaling Spear throws a spear at an enemy and rends the first target struck. The tank can aim this to hit the Ad, who will take the damage for you. At 30% health, Warlord Parjesh will Enrage to gain 30% haste, which might merit a cooldown or two. Overall, this is a very easy first boss and shouldn't give you any trouble. King Deepbird has a very cool shoulder bow that I kind of want for Transmog. Ground Slam does damage to an impact location that ignores armor, and the tank should do their best to dodge it. Gaseous Bubbles will shield players to absorb 250k damage taken, which sounds very nice of him. However, if those bubbles haven't been used up within 15 seconds, they'll explode. You want to stand in the bad blue stuff on the floor until your bubble is gone, and then go back to whatever you were doing. Quake does damage to the whole party, and then an Aftershock does it again 4 seconds later. Healers should focus on bringing up low health targets after Quake so they don't get finished by the Aftershock. Call of the Seas summons the swirling nasty blue stuff, which does mild damage and is perfect for soaking off your gassy bubbles. This fight is pretty straightforward when you know what's up, but I can definitely see lots of bubble explosions happening in early runs of this dungeon. Serpentrix isn't technically affiliated with Ashura, but just kinda lives here. Toxic Wound will go out on a random player and cause them to leave a trail of toxic puddles. Try not to run them right through the group and it should be fine. Poison Spit will put out raining poison, which falls at varying speeds relative to the wind. Stay downwind of the boss to avoid damage from that. At 66 and 33% health, the boss will submerge, emerge at a different location, and summon 2 Hydra spawns. The ads should be killed right away before their damage ramps up and wipes your group. The locations he can pop are all over this little patch of beach, so I hope you guys cleared trash. The boss will rampage if nobody's tanking it, so don't dawdle when he pokes his head out. This is another fight that's really simple on paper but can get kinda crazy, especially if you left any trash up. Lady Hatecoil is Sea Witch Nobility, although I can't say she was very ladylike. Static Nova electrifies the water to do big damage, so get yourself up on a little sand island to avoid that. Beckon Storm summons these little salty glob guys to harass your party. They explode when they die, so don't be stacked up during that unless you have to be. Focused Lightning is a targeted lightning strike on all players, which will destroy sand dunes if you're on one. Make sure you get into the water before the lightning lands so that you keep some of those around for Static Nova. Curse of the Witch curses players with arcane magic. When the curse ends or is removed, the player will release a frontal cone of damage that knocks back other players and destroys those salty globs. Decursing removes this early, so you can aim it to avoid your friends but clear up as many globs as you can. If nobody can decurse, just keep an eye on the debuff timer and aim yourself when it's ending. Crackling Thunder does bad things if you try to leave the arena, so don't run away. She's not that scary. Wrath of Ashura has been summoned to be angry at stuff and has a butt ton of health. Thankfully, it starts out pretty low, so Shadow Priests and Warriors should be happy. Heaving Sands causes the boss's melee attacks to do damage to the whole party, which is going to make for some fun healing. Massive Deluge does big damage and a knockback in front of the boss, so don't be in front of it unless you're the tank. Mystic Tornadoes are summoned near players that do damage and knock you into the air if you touch them. They don't throw you high enough that you'll die, but you will take some falling damage, so try and stay out of the bad winds. Arcane Bomb will track a bomb to a player with a debuff. Dispelling the debuff stops the bomb from tracking, but it'll still fall, so healers need to take this off in a safe spot and then players should move away from the drop zone. If you get the debuff as a DPS, you need to move out of the group so you can drop it somewhere safe. Cry of Wrath empowers the weather when the boss reaches 10% health, which makes the storm pretty ugly. Violent Wind will blow you around into all of the stuff that you're trying to avoid, while lightning strikes and tidal waves frolic around making your life miserable. This all adds up to make a pretty challenging, awe-inspiring encounter which really puts you in the thick of a hurricane. So that's Eye of Azshara. Overall, this dungeon took us about half an hour and it seems correctly tuned at this point. Thanks for watching, let me know what you think, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!